Hey guys, thought I'd do a video. It's been a while since I've done one. So I'm just here at the rec center. Tried to go to my other place that I usually go to, but there were some drug addicts down there, and some chick was getting naked in the creek taking a pee, so I couldn't go there. So I came over to the rec center here and just sat down at a table. Got my good book with me. I'm actually not quite too sure where I left off in my book, but I do know I did do a video last week on the rest of my study guide for step 1, but I didn't realize that I had my headphones in and the mic to my headphones wasn't working anymore, and I had no idea, so I did a whole video and you can't hear a goddamn word I'm saying, so I had to delete that one. So I'll just go over the rest of my study guide here quickly. Yeah, it was on unmanageability, reservations, surrender, spiritual principles, and moving on. So unmanageability, well, yeah, it's just about how unmanageable your life is when you're an addict. You can have trouble at work or at school because you're not putting your whole 100% into it that you should be doing, and you don't kind of have a sense of time or routine or anything, so all that kind of stuff affects your schedule in life, and especially when you have a work schedule or school schedule that you need to abide by. When you're a user, you don't really abide by those things. You have trouble with your family as a result of your addiction. Your family doesn't want to be around you. You don't want to be a part of your family because you don't want to have that negative energy affect them. I know that I stayed away from a lot of my family while I was using. Stayed away from a lot of my friends that were not users. Insisted on having my own way all the time because I was so self-centered in my addiction. Everything has to be your way or no way, and you weren't considering the needs of others at all, only of yourself. That's all that mattered. You weren't accepting responsibility for your life or actions. You just didn't care. You weren't able to carry out any of your daily responsibilities without becoming overwhelmed. I couldn't even go to the grocery store without becoming overwhelmed. It was that bad. I didn't like going anywhere. Didn't like helping out. Didn't like doing chores. Didn't like doing anything. Like every single tiny little thing overwhelmed me while I was deep in my addiction. And the minute things started to fall apart, you kind of start going crazy. You don't accept that very well or deal with it very well. You deal with it on a very, very negative level. And you just completely fall apart. It's like domino effect. Things just keep falling apart and they just go down, 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 down. You treat every challenge as a personal insult. You take everything personally. You think everything is about you. You think everyone out there is out there attacking you. You maintain a crisis mentality. Like the world is ending. Everything that can fall apart will fall apart. You ignore all the signs that something's wrong with you mentally, physically, emotionally, because then you would be admitting something is wrong with you, like your addiction. Hello. And yeah, you don't want to look at that, you don't want to see that, you don't want to take accountability for it or anything like that. And if you ever do get in real danger, you become indifferent to it, you think you're invincible. Sometimes you may harm someone because of your addiction unintentionally. I never harmed anyone physically, but I know that in my addiction I was harming a lot of people emotionally and mentally because of it, so I had to stop doing that. Definitely had temper tantrums and reacted to my feelings in ways that lowered my self-respect and dignity for sure. I didn't react to things in any good way at all whatsoever, so that wasn't really a good thing at all. And did I take drugs or act out on my addiction to change or suppress my feelings? Yeah, because I couldn't handle my emotions anymore, so that's why I was self-medicating with my addiction, because I was better able to handle my emotions, or so I thought. Basically, I could ignore them and not have them at all, but that really wasn't helping me at all. I just, that was just my addiction, my drug lying to me and telling me that I was better able to handle it. Have I accepted the full measure of my disease? Yes. It was a really hard one to accept. That's why, I took a lot of time with step one. I didn't just answer the questions how I thought that they should be answered, or, I took my time to understand each and every question and what it was getting at. Do I think I can still associate with the people connected with my addiction? Absolutely not. I know I can't. You have to change everything, people, places, things that have to do with your addiction. You have to completely change them all in order to succeed in your recovery. And it sucks and it hurts, especially when you have people that you love unconditionally that were a part of it. You have to accept that you have to love them. It's okay to love them, but you have to love them from afar. And that was one of my biggest lessons that I had to learn, that it was okay to still love them, but to love them from afar. And can I still go to places where I used? No. Well, technically, I only ever used in my bedroom, but I can't go to any places where I used to buy from, or, things like that. Do I think it's wise to keep drugs or paraphernalia around just to remind myself or to test my recovery? No, I don't. I don't think that that's a good idea, and that's why I did that video where I got rid of everything. I got rid of it all and threw it all in the trash can. Thanked my addiction for what it taught me, what it gave me, and let it go. Is there something I think I can't get through clean? Some event that might happen that will be so painful that I'll have to use to survive the hurt. That's what I thought I was doing in my addiction, that I thought I couldn't deal with the pain of losing my daughter, so I had to use every single day to forget about it. But I was just prolonging the time apart from my daughter, instead of dealing with my issue and recovering, getting over it, and getting her back. So that's what I am working on now. But it has to be one step at a time. I do not want to the last thing I want to do is to harm my child in any way, shape, or form. So I need to be fully recovered and responsible and accountable for my actions. And that's what I'm working on. Do I think that with some amount of clean time or with different life circumstances that I'd be able to control my using? No, I don't think so. I know I can't ever control my using. I thought that I could. I was basically self-medicating and using it to control my emotions and weight loss. And I thought, hey, after a month or a month and a half or whatever, that I could just get off of it and not use anymore. And well, after a month and a half, 2 months, 6 months, a year went by, I couldn't stop. What reservations am I still holding on to? I'm not holding on to any. I had to completely surrender myself. It's the only path to recovery, is to fully surrender and admit that you are completely powerless over your addiction. That's a good starting point. What am I afraid of about the concept of surrender, if anything? I'm not afraid of surrendering. I guess I would have to say that before I surrendered, I was probably afraid of it because of admitting the truth that I can't control it, so I have to stop using and not ever use again, so I could never, use my addiction again. So I guess that was one thing that I was fearful over in my addiction, because that was all I was hanging on to, was my addiction. And so the fear of letting that go when that's all you're hanging on to, that's a big fear, right? What convinces me that I can't use successfully anymore? Well, the fact that I couldn't stop. I absolutely could not stop. I couldn't go a single day without using. Can I begin my recovery without a complete surrender? Well, you can try, but 9 times out of 10 it isn't going to work. Sorry, but it's not. You have to fully surrender. I don't know of a single person that has successfully recovered from their addiction without fully surrendering. I've never met a single one. But I can't say never, that's why I say 9 times out of 10. I don't know. Maybe a few people out of the billions in this world have. I have no idea. Every person's story is different, right? What would my life be like if I surrendered completely? Well, I have, and ever since I've done that, my life has gotten better. It's gotten a lot better. Can I continue my recovery without complete surrender? No, you have to completely surrender, as I said. That's the only way to be. And then the next section is spiritual principles. If I've been thinking about using or acting out on my addiction in some other way, have I shared it with my sponsor or told anyone else? Yeah, I tell my sponsor and I share it in my meetings. But I haven't really had any of those kind of problems yet. But I know I'm kind of testing myself, especially hanging out with some of my friends that I hang out with, because I know that some of them, well, pretty much all of them here in Vernon, this is Vernon, they all use, but you have to know yourself and your self-worth and your values, and stick to them, stick to your guns no matter what, and get yourself out of that situation. If they're actively using in front of you, just politely and calmly excuse yourself and go do something else. So, have I stayed in touch with the reality of my disease, no matter how long I've had freedom from active addiction? Well, I'm very new. And so, yes, I've stayed in touch. But I know that with some long-term recovering addicts that as their clean time gets longer and longer and longer, it's more difficult to stay in touch with the reality of it. And I've heard their stories of they've had 2 or 3 years clean under their belt, so they thought they could skip a meeting here and there, and then it goes from that to skipping more meetings to their life completely falling apart, and then they're back in their addiction again. So you have to, like I said, fully, completely surrender and know that this is a lifetime of, I don't want to say work, this is a lifetime of life improvement that you need to keep applying yourself at and doing. This program, it really, really does work if you put the work into it, and you have to put the work into it. You cannot, this is not a program where you can be lazy. And I don't, it overwhelms a lot of people, especially addicts, because when you mention the word work to an addict, it's like the worst word in the English dictionary, right? So, but it's so rewarding. It is so, so, so rewarding. So I really recommend staying in the program, doing the work, and not making excuses. Just do it. Have I noticed that now that I don't have to cover up my addiction, I no longer need to lie like I did? Absolutely. Coming out publicly was the best thing that I ever did. I don't need to lie about anything anymore whatsoever. I don't need to cover anything up. I don't need to pretend to be somebody I'm not. Do I appreciate the freedom that goes along with that? Absolutely. Absolutely. In what ways have I begun to be honest in my recovery? In every way, and you have to be. It's the only way to do it. It's the only way to recover. So, what have I heard in recovery that I have trouble believing? Nothing. In what ways am I practicing open-mindedness? In all ways. I've always pretty much been an open thinker. Always. I have an open mind, and I don't judge. I don't judge people. I don't judge people, places, or things, and my mind is always open to everything. Am I willing to follow my sponsor's direction? Absolutely. Abso-frickin-lutely. Am I willing to go to meetings regularly? Yes. They are the highlight of my week. Am I willing to give recovery my best effort? Absolutely. Only 110%. So, do I believe that I'm a monster who has poisoned the whole world with my addiction? No, I'm not a monster. And I have not poisoned the world on my addiction. But I was a part of I was negative and in a dark place. But I'm not now. So all I see now is light, and all I want to do is spread that light and love out to the rest of the world. Do I have a sense of relative importance within my circle of family and friends and society as a whole? Yes, I do. I see what I have to offer my friends, family, and the rest of society. I have a lot to offer, and a lot in the way of learning what I've learned, the things that I've taught myself, and the things that other people continue to teach me on a daily basis. I'm constantly learning, constantly evolving, and you have to be open to do that. You have to be open to change. Every single day that you wake up, you're a brand new person. You're not the same person that you were the day before. So wake up, get up, be the best that you can be. And that's all I kind of really have to say about that. How am I practicing the principle of humility in connection with this work? That you're no better and no worse than anybody else, because you aren't. You have to let go of that ego in order to do the work successfully. You have to let go of that ego. This is the only way. So I fully, highly recommend that. Have I made peace with the fact that I'm an addict? Yes. That was another hard one, because I had so much shame, a lot of shame surrounding it. I don't anymore. I'm proud and grateful to be an addict, because it has taught me so much, and it is continuing to teach me so much. It is evolving me in ways that I never ever thought I possibly could evolve in as a human. But it is, and it does, and it continues to every single day. Have I made peace with the things I'll have to do to stay clean? Yes. I'm excited for it, actually. I'm excited for every single thing. Acceptance of your disease is necessary for your continued recovery, because if you don't accept it, you're gonna be constantly hitting a brick wall. And like I said, you have to fully surrender and accept. Surrender and accept. That's what you have to do. And so moving on. How do I know it's time to move on? I knew it when I fully understood and grasped my powerlessness of my addiction, and and accepted it. So yeah, it is definitely time to move on to step 2. What is my understanding of step 1? A lot. I understand that, yes, I am powerless against my addiction, but I am not powerless in my recovery at all. I am so powerful. We are such powerful beings. We have absolutely no idea how powerful we really, really are until we start doing the work, start changing our patterns of behavior and thinking and all that kind of stuff. How has my prior knowledge and experience affected my work on this step? Well, honestly, my addiction, that was what started opening my mind up to the metaphysical and the, I'd have to say philosophical area of life. Before my addiction, I was kind of just one of those sleeping sheep, just going through the motions of life, doing what I was supposed to be doing, going to work, doing the 9 to 5, blah blah blah, making money, coming home, being the dutiful housewife and mother, and just doing what I was supposed to do, just kind of on autopilot. I was on autopilot. And I didn't start opening and waking up until traumatic things started happening in my life, like with my ex and the physical abuse, and then my addiction. That started opening my mind up to absolutely everything. And he was one of my greatest karmic teachers. We had a very, very toxic relationship. There was a lot of love, but it was extremely, extremely toxic. Especially with drugs and mental problems added into the mix. We loved the heck out of each other, but we were not good for each other at all in any way, shape, or form. But he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot about life, and opened my mind up to a whole world of thought and experience that I had never ever had anymore, and I will always be grateful to him for that. So yeah, I am ready for step 2. And step 2 is we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So step 2 is going to be my relationship with my higher power. And my relationship with my higher power has been getting greater and greater over the last few years, but with my recovery, it's gonna be even greater and greater and greater. So I'm super excited for that. So I'm gonna start step 2 probably after tomorrow. I wanted to show you guys this book that I got from the library. Addiction Unplugged, How to Be Free. It's a really, really great book. I highly recommend it for every person. If you're struggling in life, read it. It's not just for addicts. It's not just for people with addiction. This is for everyone who struggles in life. So I highly, highly recommend reading this book for everybody. It's such a great book, and it teaches you so much about evolving yourself and evolving your life. And I've just gotten through the first couple of chapters, and I am amazed and blown away by the message that it carries. It's absolutely awesome. So I highly recommend that book to absolutely everybody. Yeah, so I went to a meeting last night, and I brought one of my girlfriends with me, Kyla. And that was absolutely awesome. I'm so glad she came with me. I love the fact that I am getting the message out there to other people. That's what I'm doing this for. It is possible, and you really can change your life. You really can. No matter what your poison is, no matter how deep you are in your addictions, there is hope, and there is, you just have to want to, and you have to put in the work. That's the bottom line. You have to want to. But I'm going to leave this here now, because this is almost a half-hour long video. But I love you guys. Thanks for following my page. Thanks for following me. Thank you for all the love and support that you guys give me all the time. Love you, and we'll talk again soon.